and meditation, I connect with God and bring out the good in my life. I do and give my best by living the truth I know. I make a difference. All right, I do have a sign-up sheet for World Day of Prayer. It's about a month away. Please sign up to sit at the church and hold space for those who are praying and those who are in need of prayer. The reading of the daily word. This is the time in the service when we share together the reading from the Daily Word, a bi-monthly meditation magazine published by Unity World Headquarters. The word for today is prosperity. My prosperity is unlimited. I claim my good now. After King Darius hauled an unbitten Daniel from the lion's den, the king wrote to other nations to praise the divine power that delivered this Hebrew prophet from taming hungry beasts. Overcome by divine goodness, Darius prayed for abundant prosperity among the people of the ancient world. Today, the lions I face might be rising prices when shopping and greater costs for basic needs. Even in that den of apparent lack, my prosperity is unlimited. In prayer, I claim my good, grateful to live in an abundant universe. I pray that cooperative interaction with others who are seeking their own prosperity brings an end to poverty and establishes world peace. I claim prosperity for myself and all others. Then King Darius wrote to all peoples and nations of every language throughout the world, "May you have abundant prosperity." Daniel 6:25. Announcements. Here are a few things we'd like you to know about next week and this week. Next Sunday's 11 a.m. service will feature Linda Andrus, our licensed Unity teacher. The theme for August is Are We Willing? The power ability is will, and the color is silver. The representatives are the disciple Matthew and Sarah. Please join us for our monthly potluck after the service today. Help with cleanup is always appreciated. World Day of Prayer is coming up on September 10th and 11th. The theme this year is Be Still and Know. Unity Headquarters will host an online World Day of Prayer event. Please contact me if you would like me to send you to the link to participate in this free event. Our online book group meets Monday at 12:30. They're reading Living Untethered Beyond the Human Predicament by Michael Singer. Please talk to Judy Crenshaw or Nancy Leifer if you need the Zoom link. Our in-person Unity book group meets here Tuesdays at 12:30. They're reading Understanding Your Soul, The Channeled Wisdom of Jesus by Christine Bush, which is an excellent book. They're probably both really excellent. I just know more about the other one. A Course in Miracles study group will meet this Monday, 2 p.m. at the home of Tom and Linda Andrus. Please see Linda if you need directions. Thursday's time of silent prayer and meditation for world peace is at 7 p.m. Please join us for a 20-minute time of silent meditation as we visualize our world in blessed peace. Thank you so much to those who contribute to the support of Unity's community through your love and tithes, through your tithes and love offerings. Your generous donations enable us to keep our building full of spiritual seekers and other community groups throughout the month. We really appreciate you. The church's 10% tithe this week will go to Unity Northwest Region. Please hold them in your heart as we affirm our offering blessing. I will affirm it once, then repeat it with me. Actually, before we do that, could I get the ushers to pass the basket for me? Beautiful. Okay. While that is going around, okay, so let's get back to our offering blessing. I will affirm it once, then repeat it with me. I open my heart to love. All that I give and all that I receive is blessed and multiplied from a joyful heart of love. Together. I open my heart to love. All that I give and all that I receive is blessed and multiplied from a joyful heart of love. Thank you. Before we move on for our talk this week, I will affirm Unity's primary affirmation and ask you to join me for 2 more times. There is only one presence and one power in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. Together, there is only one presence and one power in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. And let's do it again. There is only one presence and one power in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. In addition, here is our Missoula Unity affirmation. I will affirm it once and ask you to join me one more time. We are Unity of Missoula. We are a radiating center of divine love, open and accessible to all. We are God's light, peace, and joy wherever we are. Together? We are Unity of Missoula. We are a radiating center of divine love, open and accessible to all. We are God's light, peace, and joy wherever we are. We just sound so good saying all that. I love our affirmations. Unity of Missoula maintains a circle of people who have made a commitment to pray every day for others at their request. If you have names of people to hold in prayer for a month, you may place their names in the prayer box located on the altar or call the church and leave a message with those names. Their names will be sent out to our prayer circle and to Unity, Silent Unity, for 30 days of prayer. Please join me in a prayer for a moment as we hold all of them in our hearts. You may say now the names aloud or silently of those you wish to bring into this time of prayer. Dear God, we hold these friends and loved ones in our hearts. We behold their light as expressions of the indwelling Christ. We release them to your care and affirm divine order in their lives and ours. Thank you, God. Amen. Here is Mark Kinney to lead us in singing It's All Inside Me. The words will be on the wall.
I remembered I was song leader today, so we're making a little progress. There's a heart that will never turn away. There's a love that I know is here to stay. There's a peace that will fill the world one day. And it's all inside me. There's a friend who will always care for me. There's an hour of my life be there for me. There's a strength that will always carry me. And it's all inside me. And I know I will find a way to the peace that is mine. All the love and the light I need wait for me here inside. There's a faith that will see me through each day. There's a word that is here each time I pray. There's a song that will seal my hope today. And it's all inside me. There's a spirit divine and ever free. There's a light that will shine eternally. There's a dream of a world in harmony, and it's all inside me. And I know I will find my way to the peace that is mine. Wait for me here inside, inside.
Thank you, Mark. Today, I get to introduce our speaker, Michael Panique. Michael has been attending Unity since 2009. He is our current vice president of the board and has served in many ways over the years for Unity. He always has he has this like calming spirit that just sets everyone at ease. He's really grounded, and that is super good for a girl like me, I gotta tell you, because I'm all over the place. He's also my husband, and for those who don't know, and I get to appreciate his wisdom every single day, and I'm so happy that he gets to share that wisdom with you today. So without further ado, Michael Panique.
One moment here. We're gonna. Good morning. Oh, I'm so thrilled to be here with you this morning. Let me see if I can make this thing work. Oh, it worked. All right. Oh. Yeah, I'm so privileged to be able to come and be here with you this morning to talk about our theme for August, Are We Willing? And I got to be honest, I had a little bit of let's call it a crisis of willingness on my way here this morning. Got back from a wonderful camping trip on the Oregon coast this past week with my son and some of the rest of my family, but we kind of left on Friday and had to kind of do a two-hop, and so I got home at about 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon and still had about half of my talk to finish up, and that went fine. But then this morning on the way over here, I stopped with Alex to to get some donuts, because if he's going to come to church, there has to be donuts involved. I'm trying to make better choices for myself, and so I decided that I'm going to have a protein shake instead of a donut. And so I got some donuts for him, and I got a protein shake for me, and I'm driving here, and I'm drinking my protein shake, and I get done with it, and I look down, and I've got like chocolate drips like all down my shirt and my shorts, and I'm like, oh, I just know a donut wouldn't have done me dirty like that. Nevertheless, I am willing to stand here in front of you with chocolate all over me to share with you a few thoughts and a few things that have come up for me. So it occurred to me pretty quickly as I was kind of starting to dig into this a little bit that I am not qualified to answer any question having to do with are we willing. But I'm going to try to do what I do pretty decently. I think I'm pretty well qualified to talk about me. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how I'm willing. Am I willing? And how do I get myself to be willing? Another thing that occurred to me, or that kind of came out, like this truth has been revealing itself to me over the past, 3 or 4 years. Everything is a spectrum to me now. As I look at this concept of willingness, it echoes so many other spiritual principles and laws of nature as I observe the world around me. There's no binary for me. There's no yes or no definitively when it comes to, like, when I look at my willingness to do anything. It's become this spectrum where on one end it's like, oh yeah, I was born willing. I can't believe that I haven't been doing this already. And on the other end it's like, maybe not quite willing yet. And the yet is really important because what I've learned is that all we have is the present moment, and everything changes from moment to moment. And it may only take, I don't know what's going to happen in the next 30 minutes that might make me willing to take a step that I wasn't willing to take when I got out of bed this morning. So yet is really important for me in that context. So I started by kind of reflecting on some different areas of my life, and a few things just kind of popped out. One thing is that I've come to appreciate that reaching and maintaining good physical, mental, and spiritual health takes a lot of time and motivation. But my experience of living with poor health was painful. Yet for a long time, for many years, the willingness to take the steps to do the work that was required to be healthier physically, to be healthier mentally, to work on my spiritual growth, wasn't there until it was. And I spent some time trying to meditate on this, and I still can't really pinpoint. I know that there were gradual changes. I know that in some areas in my physical practices, I can point to a few events that was like, oh yeah, I had horrible back pain, and so I had to start taking steps to address that, and that led me to do something else. And so a lot of times my willingness comes from that desire to avoid pain or to get out of pain. Maintaining healthy relationships with my loved ones takes emotional investment, takes time, takes energy on a near constant basis. But I also know that these vital connections, they wither and fade unless I'm willing to continue giving those things to them on that constant basis. When I'm at my job, there's always new and different challenges coming along. And we have kind of our annual performance review, and one of the things that always comes up as a strength or as here's the thing that Michael does well, is that I get recognized for my willingness to do whatever it takes, or to tackle new challenges, a willingness to learn new things, and it doesn't always bear fruit. Oftentimes I'll be like, yeah, I'm willing to jump in and try this new thing and learn this new skill, and get a little bit into it, and my boss will say, no, let's not do it that, let's have you do something else, because this new kid that we just hired 2 months ago already knows how to do this, and so it's better to have them do it than to wait 6 months for you to learn how to do it. I get to have that humility. My financial situation often feels unmanageable. I always want to find scapegoats for this. It's because the system is set up the way it is, the housing market is insane, the whatever is whatever. But in those moments where I'm kind of clear and honest with myself, I have to admit that in the past, my actions have demonstrated a lack of willingness to make the painful decisions, or, I guess they demonstrate what I would call an unwillingness to not give in to fear. It's kind of a double negative when making the choices in that area of my life. So I have experience on both sides of this, and so I wanted to try something a little bit different. We'll see how it goes. Talk to me after. If you hate it, then I won't do it again. Instead of doing a meditation and a talk, kind of one before or after the other, I wanted to try and combine them today. So for the next few minutes, I want to do this exercise in the 5 principles. I was looking at some pieces from this 5 Principles book, Reverend Ellen Davenport. I think it's one of our, it's probably still too new to call it a classic piece of our literature, but it's a really good one for me. And so I'm going to kind of go through each of our 5 principles. I've got a little kind of snippet that I pulled out. And then following each one, I'm going to invite you to kind of slip into that kind of meditative or introspective, self-reflective state while I ask a few questions. And together I'd like us to kind of ask ourselves these questions and just see what comes out of it for you. So our first principle tells us God is good and active in everything, everywhere. And so from the book, Principle 1 affirms that God is all there is. God is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. Not all-powerful, but all-power. Not all-knowing, but all-knowledge. And present everywhere. God is the stars, the rocks, the animals, the people. God is the love, the creativity, the wisdom that human beings express. All that we are and have is God. And we can never be separate from that universal power. I think that's what we talk about when we're talking about that Christ consciousness, or that divine spark, our true self. So I'd like to just invite you to take a deep breath, and then another. And then one final breath. Before asking, am I willing to see everything that exists as a manifestation of God? And next, am I willing to acknowledge the divinity of everything, even the things I don't like? And then, how would my day look differently if I remembered that God's presence is here, now, in all things? So our second principle tells us that I am naturally good because God's divinity is in me and in everyone. And from the book, people who insist that humans are divine are often accused of thinking they are God. And the secret is, we are. Just as every tree is God, in expression, just as every sunset, or newborn child, or act of mercy allows us to witness the divine, we too are expressions of God on earth. We are the divine expressing in human form. At first it may sound grandiose to claim it, but properly understood, the awareness of our own divinity is where we derive our comfort, guidance, and strength for the human experience. We can never separate from God, and we have only begun to tap the power of the human spirit. This is what Jesus tried so many times to tell us and show us. Jesus was demonstrating that it is possible for human beings, when we are fully aligned with the presence of God within us. He was able to love and forgive, heal and teach, because he was living from his God self, or the Christ presence within him. And he said that we could do the same. His single life changed the course of human history. The same divine essence Jesus had dwells in each of us, imperfect as we are. This is the crux of Principle 2, that we are expressions of the divine in human form, that our essence is God. And now we ask, am I willing to see myself as divine? Am I willing to perceive myself not as a body with a mind and a soul, but as a soul inhabiting a body and possessing a mind? Am I willing to see everyone as divine, even when I disagree with their actions? And then, where in my life am I being invited to express my divine Christ presence? Thank you. Our third principle tells me I create my experiences by what I choose to think and what I feel and believe. And from the book, I am fully divine and fully human, as Jesus was. I am on earth to express God as me, as part of spirit in its infinite variations. I am free and unlimited, the creator of my experience. What I believe comes to me. What I want is already mine. What I perceive becomes real. What I know is the playfulness and creativity that I recognize as God's image in me. We are co-creating together my life, this world, all that is. I play a part. I have a role, and the universe would not be complete without me. The future is mine to design. Now, we ask ourselves, am I willing to accept the responsibility of creating my experiences? Am I willing to let go of the thoughts and beliefs that result in experiences that I no longer desire? And then, how might my day look if I choose today to see the world only through a lens of unconditional love? So our fourth principle says that through affirmative prayer and meditation, I connect with God and bring out the good in my life. And from the book, prayer is where spirit meets language. Of course, the universe does not need our words. It responds to energetic vibration. Words resonate within us. We say them for our own sake. They clarify our thoughts and intentions. They are the voice by which we call forth what we want from the field of possibilities. When we speak consciously, we release our words as if shooting an arrow at a target. We refrain from saying anything we don't want to see in our lives. That's what Jesus meant when he said, "Ask and it will be given." Asking is not begging or beseeching, as many of us were taught. It is focusing our thoughts, aiming our intentions. Prayer is the time we take to focus, to align ourselves in oneness with the divine, and affirm whatever we need is already ours. This is affirmative prayer. I wanted to add a little bit to this before we get to our questioning, because it wouldn't be me if I didn't bring the Course in Miracles in a little bit. And it talks about something that it calls the holy instant. It's mentioned 140 some times throughout the text. And it's this moment when we glimpse eternity and experience the truth of our wholeness and our oneness. It describes it as the moment when our will is perfectly aligned with the divine will. And prayer and meditation being one of the vehicles that brings about this connection, this experiencing of what it calls the holy instant. And I wanted to read just a little bit. Somewhere. We may experience this holy instant at multiple times throughout our lives, but there is only one. There is but one, a little breath of eternity that runs through time like a golden light, is all the same, nothing before it, nothing afterwards. We look upon each holy instant as a different point in time. It never changes. All that it ever held or will ever hold is here, right now. The past takes nothing from it. The future will add no more. Here then is everything. Here is the loveliness of your relationship, with means and end in perfect harmony already. Here is the perfect faith that you will one day offer to your brother, already offered to you. And here the limitless forgiveness that you will give him is already given. The face of Christ you yet will look upon is already seen. So let's breathe again. And ask, am I willing to trust in the affirmative nature of my prayers? Am I willing to see the fulfillment of my needs as already done when I focus on my divine connection? Am I willing to devote time from each day to fostering and maintaining this connection? Am I willing to listen to that still small voice within me, even when I'm experiencing fear? So our fifth principle tells me I do and give my best by living the truth I know. I make a difference. And from the book, spiritual action does not demand marching in the streets against war, saving the environment, or turning corporations into socially responsible do-gooders, although some people will express truth in that way. It means, at base, integrating our divine essence into ordinary, annoying, daily living with its drudgery, confusion, and difficult people. How do we apply these principles when we're sick, broke, heartbroken, scared, angry, or apathetic? How do we make choices day in and day out in alignment with principle so that we can, bit by bit, create the kingdom of heaven on earth? The question is being asked more often. Students of spirituality, psychology, metaphysics, and human potential seem eager to move from study into action. But there are no formulas for using principle. Not only is every individual different, but each came to earth with a different purpose and path. That's why our ability to create our own experience is so useful. We can attract the unique experiences that are perfect for each of us and take actions as guided. The point is that people who are consciously practicing principles might choose different actions. The only guideline is to choose whatever keeps you in positive vibration. How do you know when you're in that vibration? The shorthand answer is this: good feels good, bad feels bad. And so we ask, am I willing to trust that Christ's presence within me is guiding my actions? Am I willing to act in alignment with my truth when faced with disapproval or even outright opposition? Am I willing to embody the Christ consciousness when facing the unlovely? And lastly, where in my life today am I being called upon to live the truth of my expression of an all-loving God? Thank you for trying this with me today. Got a few minutes left, so I did have another little section from A Course in Miracles here that I felt like speaks to me about how important willingness is in my spiritual practice and in my desire to grow and to be more of who I want to be in this world. And it's, again, addressing this this connection, this holy instant that we can experience. Just checking, I've got my place to start marked here, but I don't think I marked where to stop. The holy instant is the result of your determination to be holy. It is the answer. The desire and the willingness to let it come precede its coming. You prepare your mind, for it is only to the extent of recognizing that you want it above all else. It is not necessary that you do more. Indeed, it is necessary that you realize that you cannot do more. Do not attempt to give the Holy Spirit what it does not ask for, or you will add the ego to it and confuse the two. It asks but little. And then I think I wanted to skip ahead to I should have marked this better. Yep, here you go. The holy instant does not come from your little willingness alone. It is always the result of your small willingness combined with the unlimited power of God's will. You've been wrong in thinking that it is needful to prepare yourself for Him, she, God. It's impossible to make arrogant preparations for holiness and not believe that it is up to you to establish the conditions for peace. God has established them. They do not wait upon your willingness for what they are. Your willingness is needed only to make it possible to teach you what they are. And I think, I just wanted to share that because it reinforces, something that's become one of my core beliefs. It's like, I don't have to have the answers. I don't have to know what to do next. I just have to show up and be willing to find out. And the next step will be revealed to me. And I'm not being asked to do it alone. I have the support of not only wonderful loved ones, friends, community, but an all-loving God that only wants what's best for me and for everyone. So in the last couple minutes here, I wanted to bring just a few things that, sometimes the answer when I'm asking, am I willing, is more on the not yet, I'm just not there yet end of the spectrum. And so I spent a little bit of time reflecting on what strategies do I have, what works for me when I find myself in that place where I can see or I believe that something is the greatest good, but taking the steps to do that, I don't have that motivation, I don't have that willingness. The first thing I have to do is to kind of do some introspection or some analysis. Why am I unwilling? Is it might be because I think that by doing this thing or changing something that I have to admit that I was wrong about something. Maybe I'm clinging to needing to have been right about something. Maybe I'm just afraid of changing something. Maybe I am trying to maintain control over something that I can't control. Maybe it's from self-doubt or uncertainty. Maybe I don't feel like I can do whatever I feel like is needed to be done. Maybe I'm just overwhelmed. So some of the tools that I have learned I can rely on in these situations is always first is prayer. It's always the first tool I pull out of my toolbox. I tell my higher power, my God, I'm willing to become willing. I see myself becoming willing to whatever. Right? I can look for inspiration. I can try to break whatever it is up into smaller, more manageable seeming tasks. In 12-step programs, we talk about something called the next indicated action. When I feel overwhelmed, that is a saving grace, because I don't have to do it all. I just have to focus on, okay, what can I do next? Find an alternative motivator. And the last one is kind of visualizing completion. I find it really useful to look at whatever situation I'm feeling like I'm struggling through and see myself on the other side of it, see myself looking back and laughing at, you remember how crazy that was? And seeing it done. I hope that you've gotten something out of this today. I know I have, and I'm grateful that you've all joined me here. And with that, I think we will go ahead and move into our prayer for protection.